humble to want to do it, to love others, to help them out. It's about giving. That's what we're here for.
Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Andromeda 7 Portal. I'm Crystal McArthur, and tonight we have a wonderful show with Marsha Price doing a presentation workshop for everybody. I just wanted to welcome everyone in the panel. Hi, you guys. I love you, sisters. All this divine feminine showing up tonight. It's awesome. I think, Theresa, where is Big Al?
He's out in
Sierra Blanca,
Nevada, isn't it?
Or
Sierra, guys, Sierra Blanca, Texas. He's out there.
Sierra Blanca.
Yeah. So we want to give a big shout out to Big Al. Get to Orlando safe, buddy. Okay, you and Dave. And I want to welcome everyone in the chat. Mary Wins, Deborah Sloan, Robert V. Hi, Robert. Sarah Horton. Hi, Sarah. Celtic Warrior. Oh, who else is all in here? Let me just take a look here. My chat. I got to just look real quick. Make sure I get everybody.
Deborah Sloan. Hi, Deborah Sloan.
Joe and Bilky's mom. Hi, Brenda. let's see. I think that's pretty much everybody right now. And then,
Hi,
and then
Robert.
we'll give a shout out again here in a little bit as, and Alex. Hi, Alex.
Alex.
Thank you so much for joining us, you guys. Well, I wanted to give you guys our mission statement, and then we'll go into our presentation tonight. Our mission statement is Andromeda 7 is focused on connecting with others in our community and helping them to evolve by providing an organic approach to inner enrichment and enlightenment and empowerment. We are the portal for information sharing and exchange. Together, we are the frequency we are the deep frequency desire to lift the veil and form a new world reality. You guys must forgive me tonight. I'm a little tired. I went on I think I have a camping hangover a little bit, but I'm gonna get through it. So that was our mission statement, and this evening is an opportunity to brush up on some key fundamental spiritual truths, and just some things, some tools we could have in our spiritual suitcase. And the material being presented this evening will be filled with both interesting and sometimes a little reality shaking up information. It might, kind of make you start questioning some things and asking yourself questions, which, is always good to do in your life. Country folk I found are real simple. They're like, it's life, just live it. But, sometimes us deep thinkers, we dive deep and, we want to go into, what's happening in our realities right now and how it's been affecting us. I don't know. You guys know this week has been very challenging for everybody, right? Raise your hand.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Raise your hand.
It's
been challenging. We've had pinched nerves, back problems, ringing ears, and it's just been
sore shoulders.
Yeah, sore shoulders. It's been very, very intense. So, it's up to you and to all of us as powerful, loving spirits to help our human bodies figure out how the best way to respond to anxiety and stress and all the changes that are happening in Mother Earth right now and in humanity altogether. So tonight, I'm also challenging our panelists and everyone here in the chat to recall at least one of these memory points in our presentation tonight. One of them I really relate to. If you want to get a pen and paper, guys, in the chat, if you want to, you don't have to, but in case you want to do some more thinking and homework on it. Are we as a tribe like-minded, highly spiritual beings called by the universe and divine spirits to help mankind usher in a new age? Are we involved with that? Is that really why we've come here? That's a good question to ask yourself. What is your mission here? And is it to help others create our world vision? You have your individual vision and you have a community vision as well. And then the no fear. This one was really great. Fear of the unknown. It's an unpleasant feeling triggered by perception of danger, real or imagined. How do we overcome fear and how do we manage it? Because I think sometimes anxiety and fear kind of interlock a little bit. Mm-hmm. And how do we manage our expectations of ourselves and of others and this time? Are we going really grandiose and expecting a lot out of ourselves, which I'm really hard on myself and things. But how do we prevent disappointment by establishing in advance what can realistically be achieved or delivered? Things like that. Is having no expectations the best approach? Is it no expectations or having too many? Maybe there's a balance. Maybe there's a balance we can find. Mm-hmm. Also, another one I found interesting was stability. So are we not sovereign-like beings that have the innermost ability to stabilize our mind, thoughts, or our feelings? What actions can we take to maintain our balance? Those are important questions. How do we keep finding our balance? Because it seems like we're on this topsy-turvy roller coaster right now, guys. So that's a really good point. And what does love have to do with any of this? How can love protect us, guide us, and show each other how to really live and love each other? So I thought that was really important. And also, how do you guys know you're protected during this time? How do you feel it? How do you perceive it? And what brings you into that knowing? I think that's really, really important. So we hope that we have some challenging thoughts for you guys tonight. And before we go into Marsha's presentation, Jules has a poem for us.
Hello, everybody. Now, this is the first poem I ever wrote when I started meditating and I was listening to the clock. This is it. It starts in a garden, is it the name of the poem? Love, mother. A seed is planted from which it grows. The process of growing, feeding, watering. The climb of life with its twists and turns. The death and new growth of old and new, bending with the winds of change. Watching, wondering, gives hope, a purpose that is. With nature, at each stage of growth, blooming into full potential at the right moment in time.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Jules.
That was awesome.
I saw your video today too. It was really good. About the Milky Way.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome. Yep, I enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Watch that. Thank you so much, Jules. You look beautiful, by the way.
Yes,
You
she
look
does.
gorgeous.
Yes.
Thank you,
Absolutely.
as you all do. I'm reflecting it back at you, remember, because I'm a pain.
Oh, that's right.
You're gonna make me blush. Oh.
Okay.
I
All
love
the
your
The only
flowers,
one I know that
all
can
the flowers.
Yes.
get up in the morning and walk around without any coffee or anything. The sun's still coming up. She's in the dark and she still looks beautiful.
Yes.
She does. All right, so let's get on
Thank
with
you.
Marsha's presentation because I know we have some vital information that her and Brian Barnette had come together with, and so let's go ahead and welcome Marsha Price. You can't miss her. Her artwork speaks for herself before her. So please go ahead, Marsha.
Thank you. So this is how I got started or became interested in researching the solar flash. I had never heard of it, actually. I had a dream in November of 2018 about I was in this building and I was renewing my passport. And my passport is due to be renewed in 2023. So I'm thinking it was probably that time frame is when this happened. So I'm standing in this really tall building. It seemed like it was New York. It's somewhere I had never been before. And the sun was just real bright and it just like kind of goes down. It was real big and bright, like a volcanic type fire. And it just goes down right before us. Everything goes completely dark. And like TVs go off, everything's dark. All the false light of this world no longer works. I mean, we're in the dark. So this led me to start researching. Like I said, I'd never heard of the solar flash. I started researching, this type of event, where the sun gets real bright in a ball of fire and just goes down. Started researching it. And then I saw Brian on Wayne's show. And he was talking about the solar flash, solar minimum, solar maximum. And Brian was of the line of thinking that at that time we were in the solar minimum, like the sun, there was very little to no activity with the sun at that time. But now we're seeing, I'm thinking we're in the solar maximum or maybe the beginning of it because the sun has become very active at this point. And so this is, I started making some comments on Wayne's video to, and some of my material on the solar flash to Brian, and that's how he and I started talking, and that was the beginning of our friendship. And we were always sharing, our research with each other.
Oh, that's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. That's awesome. I have actually had some people that work outside a lot, and even Joey, they started to get these blisters on their skin, even from covered like long sleeves. They were getting these weird skin symptoms, and they were feeling like they were literally being cooked. And yeah, has anyone heard about that?
I think that's a prophecy in the Bible that the sun would become so hot that it would, be intolerable for humans. Burn their skin, cause blisters and sores.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, he's definitely got some skin damage from it, but I'm doing some treatments on it, but it's been so brutal that people are falling out, especially down in like states like Florida. The people are falling out in the heat. People that worked out in the heat all their lives are this year. They said it's just gotten worse. So I think it's
that exposure.
So does anyone else have any like experiences like with the sun lately being more intense?
Yeah, here in my neighborhood, yeah, because we usually don't have a really bright sun. We're like close to the eastern shore, but it comes over the tree lines and it's not real bright. But here lately, it's been like rays. I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like what Laurie has behind her head. You've got this ball, and then there's rays that are coming off of it in different directions, almost more like a Christmas star would look like, And we don't usually see that. And it could be because the skies are more clear now. But we don't have a lot of clouds. We haven't had a lot of clouds. And I've been seeing this really bright sun with rays.
Now, I do know
about a heat in Arizona that was like catching stuff on fire. It was melting stuff. People were getting like sun poisoning, sun sickness. Little babies, like they were going with their strollers and their mom didn't cover up the tops of their feet and they got blisters. I mean, it was intense. So we've had some pretty serious waves, but I wonder if this might have to do with different rays of light and radiation. I wonder if a lot of this is because we're kind of getting radiation sickness.
Well, they did say some of the prophecy says we're moving into new part of space and the photonic, different types of photons, and we're also not only are we doing that, but we're also changing frequency. So if we're changing frequency and the Earth is changing frequency, is the sun changing frequency, and that's what we're experiencing, So those are really. I mean, I have noticed it myself too, that it just seems like the sun is just unnaturally cooking things up. I see people in the chat talking about gardens are burning up and trees are burning up.
We had tomatoes exploding and catching houses on fire in Arizona 3 years ago. Like I said, we had a really weird bout of some really intense sun, and we've never had that before, ever, never.
Oh my gosh.
It most definitely is a difference. I mean, you can feel it on your skin. It doesn't feel like the sun.
I live in the sunshine state.
It feels like it's on steroids or something, like it's magnified. Yeah.
Well, the sun looks different to me than when I was a child. I mean, I used to could stare directly into the sun. I can't do that now. It's like a really bright light, almost like it's artificial light.
Right.
It's not that beautiful yellow, soft yellow like it used to be.
Hi, you guys. I just wanted to welcome Marta from Deepthoughts here now.
I was just going to say that. Hi, Marta. You made it home off the train. That was a crazy ride.
Tech issues, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But you made it. You're here. So we're very happy to have you.
Thank you. So, Marta, have you experienced any weird things with the sun?
No, not necessarily the sun, but like with the geomagnetic storms or whatnot, and things that are going on in the solar system. I guess I have, but it's more like physical. I don't know if they call it the ascension symptoms, whatnot. I think I've been experiencing a lot of like headaches. I have a lot of ear pressure. Like it feels like something is poking in my ears, popping. I feel a lot of popping. So I think there's like geomagnetic solar storms that are going on, or something's in the cosmos, and which is really strange because my friend, she's been hanging around with me lately, and I don't really go into the spiritual awakening with her so much, but it's funny, weird. She's experiencing the same symptoms as I am. It's really funny, actually.
That's really interesting that you don't even have to bring it up and you have something in common.
Yeah,
so
every time I talk to her on the phone, she has exactly the same symptoms that I have. It's hilarious. So.
Wow, that's fascinating. Kelly, have you noticed any strange things about your son?
It just seems it's more of like a white light. I've noticed, That's kind of what I'm seeing. I don't know what it is, but you can definitely, it's not that golden ray, that you usually get. It's got that white tone to it.
So the frequency change went from a gold slower vibration to a white higher vibration.
Seems like it.
And I don't know if any of you guys feel major changes in like the root chakra area. I'm feeling that like vibrations, sensations. I don't know what it is, but it feels like I'm getting constantly worked on in the lower like solar plexus root chakra area. And it's been ongoing for about, 3 years now. And it's like nonstop vibrational, these electrical sensations, currents that I constantly feel. I don't know if anyone else experiences it, but I literally went to the doctors and asked for like an MRI in the pelvic region, and they didn't find anything. So
wow.
It must be like the chakras or.
Okay, well, let's see if Marsha Price and Brian Barnett's little research can maybe shed some more light, no pun intended, on the situation. Marsha, are you ready to share those slides, hon?
Well, I'm ready if Kelly's ready.
Okay.
Okay. The solar flash and the Great Conjunction cosmic events. Next slide. These are the different solar flash belief systems. Some believe this will be the end of civilization. Some believe we will transform into light bodies. Some believe this will be the start of the golden age. The truth is somewhere in between. Next slide. The solar flash is a result, or will be the result, of extremely high photonic activity in this galaxy as a result itself of us passing through this area of the galaxy in what NASA calls the photon belt. If you have been paying attention, ever since 2012, we have seen massive shifts and peaks in the Schumann resonance, which corresponds to solar activity as it interacts with the Earth's ionosphere, not to mention solar storms. Spiritually speaking, this will correspond with potentially two major events. The first is that it will destroy an enemy, AI, that has infiltrated this universe a long time ago, a long-awaited event. Second is that it will correspond to a major shift on Earth, although predictions on what happens is sketchy. Some say it precedes a 3-day darkness. Others say a shift in timelines, a split, if you will. What exactly is going to happen? I don't know, but it's one of those things you'll know when it happens. Next slide. The solar flash is prophesied in all religions and called by many different names. In Christianity, it's known as the rapture, the resurrection. In Hinduism, it's known as Samvartaka fires. In Zoroastrianism, it's the Frasho-Kareti. This is just to name a few. The solar flash investigations of David Wilcock and geologist Dr. Robert Schoch both have pointed to the sun and proclaimed that we could be in for a holy shitstorm of a solar event that will fix everything, either by possibly wiping humanity off the planet or triggering our transfiguration into light beings and our ascension from our precious world. If the solar flash is the solar flash on, only time knows. However, what I do know and seek in all humility to contribute to this dialogue here is that Christian end-time prophecy also describes an immensely powerful supernatural river of light coming from the sun that transforms us into light beings. On December 2nd, 2020, the biggest solar flare in 3 years happened and is a sign the sun is waking up. So this is the biggest solar flare in 3 years just occurred. It is a sign of things to come as we enter the active phase of the next solar cycle. Is this the solar flash event? Why the sun appears to be acting up? If so, the sun's timing is exquisite. In William Henry's book that was published in 2012, The Judgment Day Device, this river of charged particles is the centerpiece of the Judgment Day scenario in which a transformative light shines on Earth and the ascension ark or throne of Christ is revealed in the sun. The elite expect the final solar sneeze to occur at the end of this solar minimum period, 2018-2019, from their estimates. Are we officially in the solar minimum? The elite begin moving underground in large numbers based on this probable timeline. The programs had used probable future technology to nail down the time of alien and suppressed technology disclosure and the solar event. None of them agreed on what the solar event would be, as many thought it would be a flash that would turn them into ascended light beings, while others expected it to be a terrible day for the planet Earth. David Wilcock did a video about the solar flash. It has since been removed. In this video, he talks about this solar flash event that is a prophecy in all ancient cultures and religions. He goes over each culture's religion's prophecy: the Mayan, Zoroastrian, Hindu, Buddha, Islam, ancient Greek, Judaism, and Christianity. In Christianity, in Corinthians, where Paul says he speaks of a mystery and we will be changed in the twinkling of an eye, from corruptible to incorruptible, from mortal to immortal, the Christian's rapture. Wilcox says Paul is speaking of this solar flash that changes us into our light body, but those that are wicked, it will burn them up like chaff. They will not survive the solar flash. This is mentioned in the book of Enoch, how those that continue in wickedness will not survive the event. Okay. Next slide. The Christos flash. Christ or Christos, we must remember, is not a proper name. It is a title. It means anointed. To anoint is to bathe or baptize oneself in the oil or Holy Spirit. In esoteric terms, Christos or Christ, the Holy Spirit, is a tone frequency, vibration or ray that emanates from the central healing sun.
Someone's breaking up. I feel I can't hear anything. What about you guys? It's really breaking up.
I'm sorry. I'm breaking up.
Go ahead, Marsha.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you're fine, Marsha.
Okay.
I hear you, Marsha.
Okay. In esoteric.
Everybody mute your mics, though. It might help.
Okay. In esoteric terms, Christos or Christ, the Holy Spirit, is a tone frequency vibration array that emanates from the central healing sun. It's stepped down in frequency by our sun and that cleanses, purifies, and uplifts. In Egypt, this anointing was depicted as a baptism in the living waters or keys, tones of life that came through our sun. This is what it means when the book of Revelation describes Mary as the woman clothed with the sun. She is in her immaculate rainbow light body. Next slide. The Christos, the tone, frequency, or vibration, is literally the white or pure carrier wave for this wisdom. This coding is carried forward in the term INRI, nailed to the cross of crucifixion by Pontius Pilate. The Bible says it means Jesus the Nazarene, King of the Jews. In the Gnostic tradition, however, INRI means Igen, nature, renovatura integra. By fire, nature is renewed whole, pointing to Jesus' role as a deliverer of higher frequency knowledge of fire. As Christ the Son is often compared to the sun, we may posit that INRI is another term, the healing rays of the sun. Next. The solar flash thesis is an interpretation of Hindu sacred texts, especially the Mahabharata, based on two academic sources. One is the scholarly work of Mary Boyce on Zoroastrianism, prophecies of the wonderful, excellent Fresco-Coretti, or world renovation, when evil will be destroyed and the good will live in perfect union with Ahura Mazda. More, Zoroaster taught that at the end time, a savior figure will bring about the final perfection of the world, Fresco-Coretti, in which the dead will be raised. Next slide. Ascension flash, solar flash, the Christos flash, and the return of Christ. This is part 2. In a flash, civilization known to the ancient Egyptians as Zep Tepi, the first time, or the golden age, when the gods lived with humans, and Atlantis by Plato was wiped off the face of the earth. The survivors of this event lived underground for hundreds to thousands of years during the dark age that followed. Are we the survivors? Civilization reemerged and began to tell stories about what happened and to warn the future about what is coming. With the solar flash comes a new light and wisdom coming from the sun that activates a light body from within our DNA. Next slide. The silver lining here is that, according to the text, the Samvartaka fire occurs at the end of the Yuga or age, and humanity has not had to worry about it for a while. In fact, Hindu tradition says the Kali Yuga ends something like 430,000 years from now. Most Hindu scholars agree we entered this present Yuga, the Kali Yuga, around 3102 BC, when Krishna left the earth and the Kurukshetra war of the Mahabharata began. But wait, Krishna said that after 5,000 years, a new golden age would begin. Next slide. Doing the math, we are something like 50 years away from the beginning of this age when humans are transformed, refreshed, en masse into golden beings. This transformation predisposes that the ascension fires are present. This is contributing to the belief that these Samvartaka fires are coming. Is it possible that this supposed work of fiction could be telling us about something that is going to happen in our world sometime between now and the immediate future, say 2040? Again, I ask the question, is this why the sun appears to be acting up? Next slide. If all this is true, then the sun's timing is exquisite and right on time. We are moments away from the singularity, or what I call the skingularity, when we fully merge with machines and a new human emerges. No one knows what is going to happen after the singularity. However, it will change everything and likely will result in the end of the human race as we know it, as we will be replaced by a new transhuman species. The age of Aquarius begins on December 21st, 2020, when Jupiter and Saturn conjunct at 0 degrees in Aquarius. This is about the Grand Junction. We're going into that. The Grand Junction, a grand conjunction, is what happens when the planets of Jupiter and Saturn in particular meet up. Together they are known as the Great Chronometer, meaning the markers of time, and they have always been associated with epochal social change when they coincide on their orbital preambulations. The next great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn will be December 21st, 2020. That date is coincidentally the date of the December solstice. It will be the first Jupiter-Saturn conjunction since the year 2000 and the closest Jupiter-Saturn conjunction since 1623, only 14 years after Galileo made his first telescope. This is a grand 18-year celestial alignment that will occur as Jupiter conjuncts Saturn, known as the Great Conjunction, which also happens on the most significant solar day of the year, the 21st of December 2020 solstice. These rare upcoming celestial events also coincide with the beginning of a major new central sun cycle as Earth's galaxy moves back into the Satya Yuga era of light spoken of by the ancient Lemurians. This series of magnificent heavenly events coming at the end of Earth year 2020 signal the dawn of a new era of light, peace, and abundance on planet Earth. Next slide. The cosmic and spiritual significance of December 21st, 2020. December 21st of any year is the solstice. The solstice is a time where the veil between dimensions is thin. It is also a time where we are more open and connected with the energies of the earth. We are able to feel with greater ease that we are not just beings on this earth, but beings of the earth. The solstice is also the start of a new season, depending on where in the world you live. And a new season always brings a transition of energy. Next. Saturnalia was a pagan festival celebrated on the December solstice and was meant to be reminiscent of the Golden Age, a time where there was peace on earth and Saturn was our sun. The December solstice was chosen for this day as it was said to signify a return to the light. In 2020, December 21st stands out as being a potent day, not just because of the solstice, but also due to a very rare alignment taking place this year known as the Grand Conjunction. During the upcoming winter solstice, Jupiter and Saturn will line up to create what is known as the Christmas star. So we also have what is known as the Christmas star this year, along with the Grand Conjunction and the winter solstice. This is also known as the Star of Bethlehem. Astronomers say this is the same cosmic event that announced the birth of Christ, also known as Star of Bethlehem, that the three wise men followed. With the cosmic event and birth of Christ came a message of peace and goodwill towards men. It was a tumultuous time on earth, much like today, but Christ brought a message of hope. Christ's message was misunderstood by many on earth at that time. His message was that of freedom from spiritual bondage, the way. They wanted freedom from the oppression from the Roman rulers. What they didn't understand is spiritual freedom is freedom from the 3D matrix. Yet another possible explanation for the Star of Bethlehem is the 3 times passing of Jupiter and Saturn between May and December in 7 BC. A rare triple or great conjunction, Jupiter appeared to pass 1 degree north of Saturn on May 29th, practically the same on September 30th, and finally a third time on December 5th. Next. And then this is about the Mayan prediction of December 21st, 2012. And we have learned that we are like 7.5 years behind, or the Mayan calendar is 7.5 years behind. So this would actually be the year 2012, according to the Mayan calendar. Carlos Barrios, an indigenous Mayan tradition keeper, says that the Mayan day keepers view the December 21st, 2012 date as a rebirth, the start of the world of the 5th sun. He says it will be the start of a new era resulting from and signified by the solar meridian crossing the galactic equator and the Earth aligning itself with the center of the galaxy. At sunrise on December 21st, 2012, for the first time in 26,000 years, the sun rises to conjunct the intersection of the Milky Way and the plane of the ecliptic. This cosmic cross is considered to be an embodiment of the sacred tree, the tree of life, a tree remembered in all the world's spiritual traditions. Some observers say this alignment with the heart of the galaxy in 2012 will open a channel for cosmic energy to flow through the earth, cleansing it and all that dwells upon it, raising all to a higher level of vibration. Next. The Mayan, Ethiopian, and Enochian calendars. According to the Ethiopian calendar, which is the same calendar the Mayans use, and is the Enochian calendar, this is the year 2012. They are 7.5 years behind our calendar. Interesting also is the new year starts September 11th for the Mayans. Conclusion. Are we near the solar flash Christos consciousness ascension event prophesied about in many ancient cultures? Is the Mayan prediction of entering a new age of spiritual transformation taking place on December 21st, 2020, on winter solstice and the Grand Conjunction? Is this the same event described in the Bible of Christ's birth, cosmic event of spiritual enlightenment? Are the two events separate events, or are they interconnected? Next. And this is just some advice, how to help each other through this. Focus on increasing your service to others and be more loving to yourself and everyone in order to raise your vibrational and consciousness level. Learn to forgive yourself and others, thus releasing karma. This will change the vibration of the planet, raise the shared consciousness of humanity, and change humankind one person at a time, even if that one person is yourself. They tell us to treat your body as a temple and change over to a higher vibrational diet to aid in the process. Next. Share, talk to friends and family, and encourage them to explore the truth. Encourage the expansion of consciousness anywhere you can. Plant seeds in the mass consciousness through the creativity and art, mass meditations, and inner work. Okay.
There we go. That was awesome. I mean, that's a lot of information coming in. Thank you so much for going through all of that for us, Marsha. I have a couple of questions
I hope
for
I can
you
answer.
from some chatters. Yeah. So Robert V says, do you think that maybe some of this radiation could be affecting, our brains at this point? And I would go even further and say, would you say that this might also, I don't know, interact with our DNA as a part of our ascension?
That's what I believe. That's what I think. You know,
Yeah.
and the saying,
So
as above, so below, and this is supposed to be a cosmic event that upgrades our DNA and activates some of the dormant DNA. And then we have below them trying to do something to alter our DNA, which seems suspicious to me.
And so again, we have this like savior like figure, whether it be, what Christianity has represented in a human being, and then what we have seen in the sun as, hey, it's just going to fry everything. It's going to fry AI and everything's going to be magical again. So it's like you got two different things of the same savior like kind of, philosophy.
That's
So,
the division.
So does anybody else want to go a little deeper into that, Trina?
I think that's the splitting of the two worlds. Some people are going to believe in the more transpersonal existence, and they're going to want that existence, and they're going to go on that timeline, while the others are going to go on the more organic timelines, and they're going to be more connected to Earth and become the caretakers of Earth. So I think that's the separation of the two worlds that I saw when I was a little girl.
How old were you when you first realized that?
I had a vision that I never understood when I was about 10 years old, and it was God popped the earth. I was up above the earth with the Lord, and there was this massive being behind us, and he threw me into the earth and made me feel it, and then he pulled me out, and then he popped it, and everything went dark. It was like he popped the world, and I freaked out. I thought, it felt like everything was gone, and then he put his hand out, and he goes, and he made a brand new earth, and it was the same earth, but it was filled with light, and it sang a song, and it was so amazing. And then he made me go into that one and feel that one too. And let me tell you guys, if this is what Marsha's talking about with the Christ light ascension, shifting the bodies into the light body, and let me tell you, sign up for that, because it's the most amazing thing I've ever seen in my life. Literally, the flowers knew our name.
So,
it was
Marsha, when did you start noticing the sun was different for you in your reality?
About 4 years ago. So
okay.
2016. That's when I started getting the ringing in my ears. It was 2016 was like a big stepping stone for me as far as awakening. Like I said, I just woke up. I woke up in the middle of the night with my ears ringing. It scared me at first. I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going deaf. But it's a frequency I still hear. It's not deafening, and it's going on 24/7. It's nonstop. I just think of it now as my own frequency. I can meditate. I've got my own frequency to meditate too.
Yeah, absolutely. I've noticed that when I put my earplugs in and I just shut everything down and like either sit on the grass or lay on the grass if I can, with your rods of Ra, it just comes all together. And if there's any headaches or anything, they're all gone, and things like that. So I think it's great that you've created tools to assist us through this very interesting time. So does anybody have any questions for Marsha on the panel?
Where did you get a lot of your information? How did you begin your research for something like this? This is very in depth and quite.
Well, there's several sources, and I did mention some of them on the slides. There's a book, and I think I sent it to y'all. The Solar Flash Crystal Ascension. Robert Schock, I think is his name. And then there was David Wilcox's video. Now, I don't follow him, but that video was very in depth, and he went through every prophecy, every religion, every culture's prophecy about it, and they all correlate, And I don't associate with Christianity, and I was reluctant to put any of that in there. But I'm seeing now how even that correlates with all the rest of the prophecies about this event.
Well, what I find interesting is that some of my own personal experiences, have been kind of, doesn't matter what the research has been, because once you experience something in your reality without knowing all this research, and then you go and you read the research, and out there you find yourself down some of those books or some of those, places, they kind of start matching up. You go, well, I didn't have that influence of the research for my reality. I was experiencing them before. And then you find that information somewhere else, like a synchronicity, So I find that very interesting that not all of it, has come from research. A lot of it's just come from your own personal, experiences. And I appreciate that.
Because people that don't really recognize and know what they're going through and what's actually happening, they end up thinking that they have some like horrific disease that they have no idea what's happening. They may even think they have like MS or something. Or
good.
By all means, I think get checked out if you need to. But at the end of the day, when you have to do your own research, and that's how I came across like the Kundalini symptoms and all that. Basically, I have them all from A to Z.
The ascension symptoms, yeah.
Yeah.
They're not all pleasant.
No, and like
scary at first.
like Marsha said, you're experiencing them almost daily, all the time, in waves, little increments of waves and energy and pulsation, vibrations. I don't know why other channels don't really cover a lot of the spiritual communities. They don't really go in depth of what these symptoms are,
right?
Because I noticed that they can come in the most embarrassing of regions as well. Like I mentioned, the root chakra.
Wow.
You could basically feel like pulsations, vibrations. And I think a lot of it has to do with your own, self-esteem. If you feel like rooted within yourself, if you basically have those internal fears of making it, of feeling, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, getting all of your needs met. If you're constantly in fear of not having your needs met or something taken away from you, if you're not confident in yourself, I believe that's how that's like the root area, the root chakra area. That's when it's getting like worked on. You have to come into your own understanding of yourself. And I think that if you don't have that, I don't know what it's called, but like the self-esteem issues as well, I think that's all the lower chakra areas that have to be worked on eventually.
Yeah, I think there's definitely those associated areas with certain issues that you might be having. And that leads me to a question. Kelly, have you noticed any, like, have you, done any research or found out about like ascension symptoms, or have experienced anything of like what we're talking about? Yeah.
No, but that's interesting because I'd say in the last year, I just have this vibration.
Wow.
I even went to the doctor and said, I just feel like a vibration, like I'm vibrating. So I'm starting to realize, like Marta is
more
saying,
to it.
Like you're just buzzing. You're buzzing.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah, it's so hard to
and you can
explain,
like
but
imagine going to the gynecologist and saying, yeah, I'm feeling like crawling sensations in my private area and vibrations too. And they'll look at you like you're freaking out of your mind.
Yep.
But that's what I'm experiencing majorly.
So Theresa, when did you start noticing the changes in the sun? When did you have a moment in time you're like, oh, that's different?
Well, I kind of noticed it as far as about a couple months ago, because I was doing the greenhouse, I was getting the rest of my vegetables before fall, and my plants were burning up, and yet they're partially in shade and they're in the greenhouse, so they're not getting full sun, which early on was a problem in starting the growth cycle. But then once it kicked in, they just started frying. And I found out my neighbors, I live in a farm area, rural area. I have a very small town and all these farms. And a lot of the homes around here are a couple acres. And they have huge vegetable gardens. And nobody could grow squash. And the tomato plants were burning up. There were holes in the size of the tomatoes. So even though I grew a couple good-sized tomatoes, they had like these major holes in the side of them. I couldn't understand that either. And yet, in my greenhouse, I've showed people photographs of my greenhouse, and there's not direct sunlight anywhere with it. It's kind of, protected. And I have trees all around, and yet the sun was strong enough. I would put water in the tomato plants, and by the end of the day, I could stick my finger all the way down in, and they'd be bone dry. So a lot of my squash didn't grow right because I just couldn't keep them wet enough, and then I had humidity problems. But also, it was affecting my skin because I'm not fair skinned. I'm olive complected. I have that quarter of Italian genes. But it was affecting my skin and causing all kinds of splotchiness with my skin, and I was confined here to this house because of that shall not be mentioned. Going out in public, Maryland was on severe lockdown, so there wasn't a whole lot of places to go. You couldn't even take your dog to the park, so I wasn't out in the sun, and yet every time I did go out to do gardening, I'd be severely burned, and I'm like, I don't burn. I just don't burn.
Oh, wow.
So I know there was a difference. I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah, very interesting. And Laurie, have you noticed any differences? And you remember a time when you kind of realized, hey, something's going on with the sky, the sun in particular?
Yeah, actually, I'd say about 5 years ago, we started getting into the watching the weather, watching the skies, and then we were seeing things about fake suns and things like that, like simulators. We were actually able to take some pictures of some octagon shapes that were in the sky, and we could zoom in on them, and we were seeing those like scattered all over the place. I worked outside for years. I was always, outdoors, and it's a completely different feeling now than it used to be. And it is noticeable. I notice it. Yeah.
Yeah, agreed. I think we are all feeling it and noticing it.
Sure.
Yeah. Especially the past, I would say about the past 5 or 6 years as well, really noticed an intensity.
Right.
And Marsha just dropped a link about some things about some information where you guys can go find information about the ascension symptoms. Thank you, Marsha.
Yeah, Marsha was talking about the ascension symptoms, and I dealt with that. I had 2.5 weeks of just ear muffled. I had ringing in my ear. My top of my head would itch really bad. I could never get it to stop. I could feel the shift and vibration, and those were my ascension symptoms. But I can relate to that stuff. All kinds of different things. Yeah.
Something else that happened to me when my ears started ringing, I just stopped eating meat, cold turkey.
Wow.
Since 2016. I didn't have plans on stopping eating meat or anything, but that's something else that how it affected me.
Yeah, just go with the flow and do what your body demands and what your body needs, and go with it.
Yep.
Absolutely. Always
That's
listen to the
interesting, Marsha.
audience. Yeah.
Well, let's.
Can I?
I'm curious to know if we can move on to a couple of the challenges we threw out to the group, because
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I was going through, some of these chat rooms over the past week, and we're all feeling, a lot of us are feeling apprehension, anxiety, not knowing what to expect, and was kind of wondering what our folks in the chat room would have to say about how we can work through some of these. And Robert has helped to answer a couple things, and so has Johan. And that's just knowing that you're where you're supposed to be, accepting it, go with the flow. My friend Michelle in the chat room would say, flow like water, be water. So what are some of the things that you all think we could do to help transmute these feelings? Because it's such a spiritual level. It's like almost like an attack of having anxiety in the unknown. What would you guys think about that? Marta, what would you think about that?
Well, I mean, it's almost like you have to write it out yourself, because no matter what you really read or what somebody else tells you they may be experiencing, I believe that if you just know how to ground yourself, if you learn how to ground yourself and just to sit in that stillness, I think that's what really helps you the most, is just going out in nature and grounding yourself first and foremost. Maybe going out, sitting somewhere by a lake, a river, closing your eyes and just breathing. I've also looked into a lot of different spiritual, channels, and they're all saying that you basically have to just like breathe your way through it. And just,
That's a good way to put it.
just you have to take it. You have to take it.
You really don't have a choice.
You don't have a choice. You don't have a choice. There's no way to go around it, really. I don't see any other way of going around it. And, there's a lot of people that end up bedridden and they're in pain and agony for days upon days. And I've watched a lot of YouTube channels about people going through this ascension where, they literally can't even get out of bed. And just like it happened to me, I didn't even have any strength to take a shower. I was beginning to think that I have like lymphoma or something. Like, I was thinking, what's going on with me? Do I have leukemia or something? So I the doctor probably thinks I'm a hypochondriac, because I always run to him and ask him questions about this and that and the other. But, I just want to check up myself. So I keep going there, but they can't find anything. So
yeah.
What else could it be?
So right now it's being intuitive and self-care, knowing yourself, respecting yourself. And Laurie, what is your favorite way to deal with, all of these symptoms and dealing with basically with this special time of our lives in your life personally? How do you deal with all of this stuff? What's your favorite way to treat yourself?
Well, when everything was going on, I was really confused about it. So it was difficult because I didn't have an understanding that this was going to be a physical thing. And so that was hard to deal with. I had 5 days where I felt like I had flu-like symptoms, but it wasn't the flu, and I couldn't get comfortable. And it's kind of like Marta said, you kind of just have to write it out. But it wasn't until I talked to my guide and he explained that there were ascension symptoms. So I said, well, what the heck is that all about, And then he just said that your body is going through a transition and it's changing, and that this is a normal part of the process, and that it's different for everyone. Everyone experiences it differently. And so I just kind of powered through it. I didn't know what else to do. I did a lot of meditation. I used Marsha's rods a lot. I did the singing bowl. I just tried to stay kind of grounded and focused on what was going on. And my guide was very helpful in, kind of holding my hand through all of this. But I can't imagine doing this without any help. It's really, you almost feel like you're going crazy,
Yeah. And, my favorite thing to do is run off into the woods and scream.
Yeah, I've done some howling. I literally did some howling. I just threw my head back and just released a lot of it by doing that. It seemed kind of crazy, but let me tell you, after I did it, I felt great. I felt like I released it.
Does anybody want to come with me into the woods and scream with me?
And just scream and yell. I
no, but a lot of times, I'm just sitting there thinking like, why don't you just like effing leave me alone? You know, like
Yeah, like
stop
enough already.
Stop torturing me. I can't take it anymore. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just shared. I'm sorry. I just shared a link. It says you're not going crazy. It's ascension symptoms.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds like a bumper sticker.
It does. You're not crazy. You're ascending.
Everybody
People
thinks
are gonna get that one, you know.
everybody
Here's
thinks
a question.
ascension is like you're a hippie frolicking through, a flower field. When really, it's like, oh my God, what's happening?
Hey, Crystal, I know that Al, and he's not here to defend himself. Sorry, Al, but I know you're listening, buddy. He had a good question, and I did too when we were planning all this and talking about this and watching all these shows this week. It's like, what the hell is going to happen when we wake up Tuesday morning and nothing's happened? Or how are we going to feel when we wake up and we go, oh my God, all half these people we knew are gone? Do we even go into this with expectations?
I don't, because I just live in the now, each now that arises.
Well, you guys, look what happened in the Mayan calendar in the 2012. I'm hearing it too.
Somebody has wind. Let's everybody mute while Laurie talks, and we'll see if that helps.
That's Jules. I think it's Jules. Remember the Mayan calendar, and everybody was kind of freaked out about 2012 and that, everything was going to end and this and that. And, I had friends who were really freaking out about it, but I just decided I'm going to take it as it comes. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. I don't have control over it. I'm not going to live too far in the future, and I can't go back. So I just got to kind of stay grounded and just take it as it comes and deal with it that way. I just can't see, putting myself through a bunch of fear and, unknowing about what the future's going to hold. I mean, none of us know exactly what the future's going to hold. So I just suggest living in the now and take it as it comes, because you can't control it and it is what it is, right?
I think it's also, you can go ahead and just allow yourself to be a part of the mystery of this life.
Yeah.
It's okay,
Yeah. And it's going to be okay, and everything's going to work out. It will be okay.
That's the message I got when I came back from my first awakening experience, my little dance on the sun, was that everything's going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know about the rest of you, but that night a week ago now, when I got that communication from Brother Brian Barnette.
Yeah.
I told Laurie, I got on the phone and first thing in the morning, I told Laurie, and the two of us, she was consulting her guides, and Brian was happy. He was like, this is wonderful. What's going to, so he was all about the energy. He was all about the love. He was like cowabunga, that attitude he gave me when he first ascended and I hooked up with him. It was cowabunga. He was out there riding. So he's like, get everybody together. This is a celebration. This is a good thing. Because even if nothing physical happens, there's spiritual division. Unity for those of us who are like-minded, who are connecting, and then there's these folks that are so far down into the whole thing that's going on with transhumanism. They might not ever make it, and that's sad. But he's happy. So he was like, get Wayne, get Robert, get David Null.
Right.
He wants a party.
I think it is a celebration. It's a spiritual feast. It's a spiritual party. And either you come to the party or you don't.
Right. Eric, my spirit guide, I asked him, I go, is this something we really need to be concerned about? He said, Laurie, this is a shift in consciousness. He said, it is going to be a lot of truth revealed, and the whole earth is going to shift into a new understanding of truths. And not to be fearful of it, just to know that it is almost like a reset, that things are going to be self-evident to each and every one of us and to society and the world at large. That's what I got from my
Yes,
guide.
some people think that word reset means we're going to start it all and start the cycle and do this all over again. I'm like,
No.
oh no, I'm not.
It just means it's out with the old and in with the new. So
That's
it's a
what it
whole
means.
new deal coming through.
Trina says we'll be singing a new song. So, you know, that Led Zeppelin is a song remains the same. Well, it's not going to remain the same. We're going to change the record and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be beautiful.
Right.
Yeah.
So I see it as a positive situation, nothing
Me too.
negative.
Me too.
Go with it, stay in the now, stay grounded. Please don't stress and worry about it.
Really,
Worrying doesn't change anything. It's not going to change what's going to happen.
I wouldn't
and
use
just
the
know
word
it is
negative.
positive.
I would just say the word challenging. It's going to challenge you to grow, maybe and learn new skills or learn how to rewire your brain or learn how to, you know, heal your parts of you that have been, you know, going through generational cycles of toxic traumas and things. So, but you have to take responsibility for your life first. So, you know, no one's going
sounds like I got a demon in my microphone.
It's not you.
No, it's not you,
Marta.
No, you're fine.
Get back there.
No, we have some audio issues tonight, but we'll get through it. Thank you so much, you guys in the chat. I did want to give a shout out real quick before we go to Jules's poem to Michelle Cannon Freeze in the house, Pa Joe. Hi, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Let's see who else. Oh, Deborah Sloan, Karen Lynn. Hi, Karen. And Janine Salunius. Hi, hope I said your name right.
Truth Seeker.
Yep. And Big Al's in the chat. Truth Seekers in the chat. Barry Chad. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. You might have to
somebody was asking also about vertigo, and I have
Deborah.
that. I have that a
yeah,
lot.
Deborah.
Yeah,
I literally feel like I'm on a roller coaster.
Yep. True that.
All righty, you guys. Well, let's wrap it up and I think Jules has a closing poem for us, and then we'll have some information for you.
Awesome.
Go ahead, Jules.
Yes, two.
Okay. Now it is blowing here, so that's winds of change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Winds of change, guys, because it's blowing. It's really blowing here. Yeah, and also when you do all things, I'm in the southern hemisphere, so it's our summer solstice. So there's a polarity different to you guys, okay? So I'm here doing what I'm doing and you're doing what you're doing, but we're in two different poles, supposedly, okay? On a flat plane, whatever you want to call it. Okay, and also when you look at the inner eye, that's the inner eye that's on the cross, which was mentioned in Marsha's presentation, Inari. It's the inner eye. And that's what's being activated as the sun in us. Okay? So that's just Jill's point of view. It's just another way of looking at things, because what it is when you're looking at things, you go to the top of the tree and you look at all the angles that are going on because you've rose above what's going on and you're out of the actual situation. You sit up there in that tree and you watch what's going on. So you rise above the situation. It's not negative or positive. It's just that you've rose above it. Okay?
Be the observer. Be the observer. Just witness and observe. There you go.
Righto. I know it's flowy and if it's going to be staticky, but that's, you have to deal with the situation, guys. Don't get reactive.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Good advice. Good advice.
This one, so if it's annoying you, well, you just have to breathe, okay?
Okay.
Breathe. Growing. This one's called growing. Think of life as a creek that starts in the hills. Just a mere droplet and it starts to build. Keeps on flowing, grows and grows. Flowing over rocks and stones, it keeps on with the flow. Logs and bits of rubbish, you have to maneuver too. You just keep flowing because that's what you do. There may be a dry spell and you go underground. The rains come down, of course, and then you're found. Now you're filling, near bursting your banks. The river you have turned to a river, many thanks. Lots of other things to contend with, lots of twists and turns. There may be land has formed and moved. Maybe you do a U-turn. That's okay. A new sight to see. Lots of beautiful shady trees. Flowers by the side, and lots of busy bees. You're getting excited. Now you're flowing very fast. You're wondering, how long is this really going to last? Just getting quicker all the time, coming to a headwaters, coming to a max. You hit the ocean with a bang. Total climax.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jules.
That's beautiful.
I'm all for a total
Beautiful.
climax. Woo!
Very nice.
Thank you.
And again, flow like water.
Yeah.
Move around those big rocks. Move around the debris that's in the water. Be like water. Just like Bruce Lee says, be like water.
Now I'm starting to realize why when I was younger, the guys would call me. I was like, they said I had a flow. They were like, you have a flow, you know?
Mhm.
About, you know? I was like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. All right,
I can
guys.
see that.
Who needs a man when they got the Kundalini energy going?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Crystal,
Go ahead, Theresa. Yeah, go
thank
ahead.
you, sweetie. Thank you. I just have one more thing. Because I really feel like I need to say this to everybody.
Sure.
Really,
Go ahead.
life here is short anyway,
Mm-hmm.
and I made some good decisions, and I hooked up with you folks,
Yeah.
and I'm still going through some not dark night of the soul, but deep inner works that I need to do. I had some stuff that I didn't even realize I had until Laurie helped me with it. She spotted it the other day. She honed in on it, and she helped me with it. Now, the reason I'm saying, and it was much needed, trust me, but I'm saying this to each and every one of you out there. I don't care what program you're on. You know we're all one. You know we're all friends. You know we're all family.
Mm-hmm.
You've got email. You've got the chat. If you're getting anxiety, or if you just we need to have some laughs and get yourself going, contact any one of us.
Mm-hmm. Please.
Here at Andromeda or even out there. Don't
Yep.
hesitate, because we need to be together more than ever at a time like this, and like Brian says, have a good time too. You know, don't just focus on the but focus on the good stuff too. So I feel a whole 100% better since I worked with Laurie this week. And I'm different. I'm already
so
different.
good. You did.
I'm already
so
different, and that's what took me to that mountain today to bury those crystals.
Yep. She released a lot of karma, guys.
Yeah, that was so awesome. Thank you, Theresa. That was an amazing.
I did it for the Soul Tribe. I did it for all of us.
Yeah.
Because it's a gift back to Gia. But the thing is that we can just ride this cosmic wave together, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
No matter
You've got
what's
support
no matter
here. You
what's
have a
going
group.
on in the 3D, and I know there's all this stuff going on, believe you me. You're not going to get me either. But, you know, it's like we're together. You know, we're family. So reach out. Just reach out.
Yep.
And please join us on the 20th, right, Crystal?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Join
Tell
us.
us
For
more.
sure.
Tell us a little bit about it. We know who's coming, right?
Oh, yes. Isn't Delabar? And Delabar, who else is coming, you guys?
Karen's coming, and Wayne, Robert,
and Wayne, Robert,
David Null. If
David
Null
Null.
agreed to come on, this is going to be one heck of a party on the 20th.
Oh my gosh, you guys!
Awesome, you guys.
We're
I'm
having it on the
freaking
20th
out right now.
already.
Like they're coming. Oh,
Yeah.
And we're having it on the 20th because it's already the 21st in Australia, and to get everybody together for the crystalline activation, everything that's going on together, to get everybody together, it's just going to be wild because we haven't seen that, you know.
Deborah just said Wayne's Beach.
Yeah, Wayne's Beach.
Wayne's Beach. This is
we're going to get Wayne to come. He doesn't know this yet, but we're going to have him do his John Lennon invitation with his wig, you know.
I would love to
Hope
see
he's
Wayne
got the
in
glasses too.
wig. I love that man.
Yes.
All right. Okay, well, it's definitely going to be a party, you guys. It's going to be fun.
So everyone join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah, and very important that we come together to have this fun together.
Yeah.
Really, you know, for sure. So stay tuned, you guys. We have so many wonderful things coming for the show just to share with you guys and share in celebration, share in this time of ascension and crazy wild,
Yeah.
you know, let's wild ride this all together. I say. I vote
Remember,
yes.
everybody, you chose to be here.
Yeah,
You chose to be here, and I want everyone to know Kelly's birthday's on the 21st, and that's very significant
Whoa.
for her.
All right, Kelly.
Yeah.
Oh my
New
gosh,
world, baby.
Yep.
All right. Well, we hope you guys enjoyed the information that Marsha shared with you guys, and hope you guys enjoyed being in the chat tonight and enjoyed the show tonight. I found it very, very beneficial, and we hope you did too. And don't forget, we have Lois of Cajun Queen Tarot. She has a food bank, so get over to her email or get over to her channel, sub to her channel, and also there's a link for her PayPal. Right, Laurie? There'll be a PayPal link.
The link for the PayPal, if you guys go to last week's show, it's on the links.
Okay.
And Kelly put an extra link in the description for you. So go to last week's show to get that info. You can just click on it. It'll take you right to it. Kelly and I donated some money for that. So yeah, it's a viable cause. People need to eat, especially this time of year. So please support Cajun Queen.
Lois is amazing. She has a beautiful energy, and I get over and watch her readings. She has a reading every day, Monday through Friday, and it's just a good way to wake up and watch.
It's so positive. It's really positive.
I am love. You are love.
So good. She is definitely a queen in her own right.
She is awesome. She's awesome. She's a very strong gal too.
Yes,
very,
she is.
very
I love her.
inner strength. Yes, she's awesome.
All righty, guys. Well, to the latecomers in the chat, I think I seen Steve slightly saying truth. Hey, buddy, what's up? Well, we're gonna close out the show tonight. Am I about to lose my voice?
Let's do some energy work, though.
Bye, everybody.
We're going to do the energy work, guys.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, everybody in chat. Please let us know if you need any help.
Yeah.
If you need somebody to talk to, just let us know. We're here for
I'm
you.
about to lose my voice. Oh.
You did.
I got a camping hangover.
A camping hangover?
Yeah,
that's the first time I've ever heard a camping hangover.
Hey, everybody.
Wow.
Crystal bagged a deer. Crystal and Joey bagged a deer. Their first
Gonna
deer.
have meat.
It was so beautiful. We did do a prayer. We did a ceremony of divine, feminine, and masculine prayer to Great Spirit. We didn't just do this for fun.
Right.
We're doing this for survival. And we live off the land here, and we give back to the land for that energy given to us. So it's a very sacred process for us, especially for me and my heritage. It wasn't just, you know, we're not vicious people. We're very grateful and honored to have you here.
You married a Crystal too, didn't you? Okay, yeah. There's everybody's name coming up there. It's Caz. We gotta get Caz on here too. Darth said he would come on and read a card for us.
And no David today.
Huh?
No David today.
Oh no, he wasn't here today, was he? He was so tired. He was on chat with us earlier, and he was just, you know, it's like he's 5 hours ahead of us. So it's like 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. where he is, and he was just wasted from work. Yeah. Do that again.
I'm tired, man. I'm like, I barely have any days off, and I'm just going with the flow. But I need another day off because I don't even know where I am now. I don't know what day it is. I don't know
What was
what
that
time
voice
it
message
is.
you left for Al? There you go. You did one that sounded like a horse neigh.
Andromeda 7 in the house.
That's awesome.
That's great. I love that.
Alice working on a Andromeda 7 doll that you pull the cord and it says that. And
I want a keychain that says that.
And he was saying that it may come out before Christmas. So.
I know what he was doing to me is he was giving me voice clips of Crystal just losing it and laughing. So I would lose it and laugh. Then he would send something to you, and then he'd play all three of them back in a row. And we were all just laughing uncontrollably. We sounded like maniacs, but it was so funny. Yeah. I thought I had an infectious laugh.
You got two choices in life, whether to laugh or to cry. I choose to laugh.
Who's doing the hoop-de-doo? Barry Chad's doing the hoop-de-doo?
Thanks everybody for joining. Much love. Thank you.
They're gone.